it's Sunny. So I have had a request to do a competition and performance hairstyling for a ballroom dance. So that's what we're going to share today. There are a wide variety of styles that you can do yourself. And so I'll probably have to take several different tutorials on different days to feature some of the different things you can do with your hair. The world is your oyster. And I think today we'll highlight a French roll. I like that because it works for a wide variety of hair lengths. I would say lower neck and longer. Because I have long hair, I'll feature styles that you can do on a little bit longer hair. I'm going to tell you the truth, I'm in need of a haircut. I would not recommend doing it on hair this long. It actually makes it harder. I would say the ideal length is just at your shoulders. Otherwise, you're dealing with a heck of a lot of hair you have to put back. So the first thing we need is the right tools, and they are special tools. So first off, we need a blow dryer. Second off, we need a large barrel curling iron. This is a 1 inch. You could go as small as 3/4 of an inch, but you want a larger, kind of a fatter curling iron. Thirdly, big fat hair ties. Next, hairpins. And this isn't bobby pins, it's hairpins, so they'll look a little different, and I'll show you the difference so you know. This is a bobby pin. Do you see the little kind of ruffled edges on there? We don't need those. This is a hairpin. They come in this big giant size, and you'll need a whole lot of these. And they come in a little bitty size, and you'll need some of these too. I'll show you the little bitty size. You can get these at Sally's or probably Walgreens. This is the little bitty size. Okay, and I'll show this side by side. Little and big. And always go darker than your hairstyle. If you get the lighter ones, they'll be more visible on the floor when the light reflects off of them. You don't want to look like you have a bunch of hairpins in your hair, even though you will have many. Okay, another thing we'll need is little rubber bands. Little itsy bitsy rubber bands. I'll show you what those look like. Itsy bitsy, teeny weeny. And again, I would recommend going darker than your natural hair color if you have a choice between the blonde, the brown, the black. I use the black, but I have brown hair. Okay, another thing we'll need, big surprise, eyelash glue. I'll show you what we do with this later. We'll also need tweezers. Okay, where'd my tweezers go? Sorry guys, I had all my stuff out. Okay, not sure where they went. I will track the tweezers down later, but you know what tweezers look like. Okay, oh, voila. And I recommend the flat edge ones, not the pointy ones. Okay, we also need a hairnet. So it's not thick, it's a very fine kind of mesh, and I'll show what that looks like when it comes out of the package. And you can reuse these as long as they don't tear. So they come in a little package. Again, you can get these at Sally's, Walgreens, drugstore, wherever, probably Fred Meyer. Comes in a little itty bitty package like this. You open it up, and there's a very fine mesh. Okay, so it's not the thick one, it's very fine. Okay, and I would go darker than your hair. Or same color, but definitely don't go lighter. The reason is we put this on the ends of our hair. The ends of your hair, if you have natural colored hair like I do, are going to be a little bit lighter than the roots just naturally from the sun hitting them. And so it looks a little better with the dark netting. Okay, final piece I'm hoping you can put together, actually a couple pieces. A very firm hold hairspray. A number of brands work. I'm not recommending one or the other over the other. However, I do have a recommendation, which is check the ingredients on the back of the bottle. Most hairsprays have water as the #1 ingredient. Water is not a holding agent, and if you have curly hair like I do, it's just going to fuzz it out. So make sure that the first ingredient on there is alcohol and not water. When you're on the floor and you have those bright lights shining on you, if you've got like hair fuzzies sticking out, those fuzzies are going to be really obvious. And the really strong hairspray with alcohol as the #1 ingredient, no water, is going to be part of our cheat later to help us get that super slick, perfect look. Okay. And when we have some options, you don't really have to use them, but they're helpful if you're doing your own hair. It's kind of cheats to do your hair faster and make it look professional. You can buy accessories to complement your gown and paint into your hair after you're done. For example, you can get a lace piece. When you have a costume made, ask your costume designer if you have lace on your costume for extra lace they can send to you. So you can stone it yourself with stones that match your costume, and then pin that into your updo once you're done with it. If you don't want to spend the money on doing that and time, making one for every single one of your costume, you can also buy generic ones, like on danceshopper.com. That would look like this. So that's just, you can buy them in blonde or dark brown. Obviously I buy the dark brown, and they're pre-styled, pre-stoned, so you can pin this in, and since there's no color in it, it's just the hair color and then the AB stones. This goes with most costumes. And then I just store it flat, otherwise they can get kind of kinked up. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and let's get started. So my first step, which I've already done because I don't want to make you watch this video for 3 hours, is I've blown out my hair. Whether you have straight hair or curly hair, you want to deal with really smooth, clean, fluffy hair. So what I do is take a big boar's hair round brush. I have a number of these. Sorry guys, I'm getting out of the picture here. Ta-da! And I run the hair dryer over it. I'll show you that in a second. And I run it down my hair. I'm explaining this now without the hair dryer because you won't be able to hear my voice when I show you with the hair dryer. But even if you have straight hair, you probably have some cowlicks in your hair, which is just kind of like a funky little curl. Heaven knows I have several of them. And when I do my updo, I really want to have a smooth style that I've made rather than go off my hair's goofy own ideas, because it's probably not going to be symmetrical and cool looking on its own. So now I'll show you quickly what that looks like when I blow it out with the hair dryer. Again, I've already finished blowing out my hair. I just want to show you what it looks like so you can emulate that at home easier. So grab my hair dryer, and we blow out. Looks like this. And I do that over my whole head until all of my hair looks smooth. And then when I'm done, I like to smooth out the ends with that large barrel curling iron. Let me grab that. Sorry, guys, I'm getting out of the picture here. Not a perfect place to stand. Ta-da! Especially my ends get a little fuzzy. So I'm going to just pull the curling iron over it and smooth it out. See that? And I do that over my whole head. And if I have funky cowlicks left over, which I inevitably do, then I go over those. A lot of people have them at the crown of their head, at their upper temples, just wherever you have one. I have a couple up here. I smooth that out with my large barrel curling iron. Again, 3/4 inch or bigger works great. The smaller ones can work in a pinch, but ideally you'll have the best tools to make it easiest for you. Okay, putting my curling iron aside. Excuse me, as I get back in the picture. Okay, so next step for our French roll, I want to find a good part, a side part. It doesn't matter whether you do left or right. This is personal preference. For today, I'll do right. Again, there's not a right or a wrong answer. So you can use what's called a rat tail comb. Sorry, guys. Like this to do your part. Or if you have fingernails like I do, I just use my fingernail. And that's a little easier for me because I have fingernails. And do you see how I did a curved line to my crown? A straight line doesn't look as good as the curved line. Okay, so I want to do a curved line to my crown. Okay, next step, I'm going to take another segment. Again, you can use the rat tail comb if you don't have fingernails that are long, or if you do have fingernails, just use your fingernail. Okay, so I'm going to go from behind my ear And I'm going to make another part. Actually, sorry, wrong hairstyle. I'm going to go from the middle of the back of my scalp and go straight up. Sorry, guys. Another hairstyle, another day. So I'm going straight up the back of my head, until I meet that part that I just made. Okay? And now I'm just going to section off this big chunk of hair. So as you can see, I've done my curved line. Okay. And I've gone straight down the back of my head. I'll turn around so you can see it. And this really does not have to be perfect in the back at all, because it's ultimately going to be covered up. So I'll show you what that looks like. Hopefully you can see. I know that looks a little goofy, but it'll look awesome later. Okay, do we see that? So now I'm going to section off this big giant chunk of hair over here into a goofy side pony. It won't be like this forever, but this is just so I can style the first part of it. Okay, so this just gets the hair out of the way. Otherwise, it's difficult to manipulate. Okay, so now I've got this kind of trailing little part of the side of my head and half the back. I'm going to turn that into a high ponytail, very tight so it doesn't fall out. Okay, and I'm going to use that big fat hair tie I showed you earlier to make this magic happen. If you use a little hair tie like this, it's not going to be strong enough to hold all the hairpins and keep your hair really stable in the comb. And the last thing you want to worry about when you're competing is your hair bouncing around or falling out. Okay, so I'm doing my high ponytail, high and tight. Tight is good for this side. Okay. I should also caution you, if you're going to have your hair professional styled, which is awesome if you have the money to do that, that's the least stressful way to do it, but make sure that you're having it done by someone who is very experienced in doing ballroom or Latin hair. It's not like a regular prom updo. I made the mistake early on in my amateur career having my hair done at a salon before a competition, and I looked gorgeous coming out, but it looked very prom-y. It did not look appropriate for ballroom competition, and even worse, in the first round, it all just came unfunneled, and it looked really unprofessional to have all my hair bouncing around, and you know, having bad hair is certainly not going to hurt your marks, but it's not going to help. Okay, so now I've sprayed after it to make this super slick, okay, and I'm combing over that part that I sprayed with a big, thick, round brush. I'm going to keep doing that until it's ultra, ultra smooth, okay? So spraying lightly with the hairspray, with no water, with alcohol as the #1 ingredient, and then getting all these fuzzies out. I don't know if there's enough resolution in your screen to see, but I'm trying to get all these little fuzzies around my face. Back, 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 smooth. So this part of my hair is very smooth, okay? And this is a big flat part, so I can just use my palm to smooth all the fuzzies down, okay? Okay, now I use that big fat hair tie to finish this high, tight pony, okay? If you have shorter hair, you can also use kind of a filler thing, which I might have one I'll show you. I have long hair, very long hair, a lot of hair, I don't need to use it, but if you want like a really big updo back here, some people like, if they're quite a bit shorter than their partner, they like to add height, so that would also help. Anyway, let me see if I have one. Sorry guys, miss out on the picture. Okay, I don't see one, but I'm sure I have one here somewhere. Anyway, it's like a hair colored mesh piece you can stick up here, and you can buy that at Sally's or the drugstore and then wrap your bun around it to make it look thicker. But for now, I'll just do a ponytail. So, if you can see, I've got my long, skinny, high ponytail. It does not have to be exactly centered. Don't worry about that. I'm going to turn around so you can see how goofy the back looks. You see that? So it's a high half ponytail. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my ponytail and I'm going to spray it just across the surface to get all the fuzzies out. And then I run my hand over it. So I'm making kind of a hair rope. Run my hand over it. Okay. There we go. So now I've got my long, skinny, goofy ponytail. Okay. Now I'm going to take one of those eensy-weensy rubber bands that I showed you earlier. Eensy-weensy, not full size. And I'm going to tie the end off. Back up so you can see, because I've got a lot of hair here. There we go. Okay, I don't want that to come unfurled. Okay. Now I'm going to take this fine hairnet, and I'm going to use little hair ties that I showed you earlier, little pins, hair pins, not bobby pins. And I'm going to slip this into the seam. Do you see there's kind of these ends that have a little knot in them? I'm going to go in the middle of those two little knots and hook with the hairpin. Okay, I'll show you that again. So there's two knots. I go in the middle and I hook with the hairpin. I'm going to stick that in the top of my ponytail. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this around and I'm going to tuck this skinny ponytail into the hairnet. And I'm going to wrap the bottom of the hairnet around. See that? So the whole ponytail's in there. And I'm going to secure it closed with another eensy-weensy hairpin. So this is hairpin number 2. Alright guys, get my splice 2. And I'm also securing that into the top. Okay, so that, I know it looks goofy, hopefully you can see, looks like that. Okay. Next step, I'm going to turn this long pony into a bun. Okay, so I've got my hair all trapped in here. Okay, I'm just going to kind of roll the excess hairnet into a ball, and I'm going to curl, 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 curl. Roll, 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 roll. Okay, until I get into a little mini bun. Okay, you see that? That's a mini bun. Now I'm going to secure this mini bun in place. I do that with the big hairpins, and I'm going to poke those in around the sides and then put the pokey parts through underneath where that thick hairband is. That will secure it. And before I let go with my hands, I need to secure this bun on all the sides, otherwise it'll come flopping out in a big mess. So I'm poking and holding, and this shape does not have to be perfect. This is ultimately going to be covered. And if I can kind of spread it out so it makes a symmetrical bun, and I'll show you what this looks like. I'm poking the tips of the hairpin into the edges of the bun. Okay, I'll show that again. Tips, edge, underneath, push, 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 push. Okay. Okay, and this doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll show you what this looks like. See, you've got a little bun there as a base now. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's going to be covered up. Okay, after that's done, I'm going to spray and secure that all in place. And if I were actually competing, I'd probably use a heck of a lot more hairspray, but for today we can go light because I'm going to wash this right out when I'm done. So, next step, I've got this kind of other side of my head with my loose hair. Usually I'll develop like a little kink like that again, and I'll blow that back out. That's just from the hair tie holding it, not a big deal. I'll skip that part today because I don't want to keep you watching this video for 3 hours. But my next step is I'm going to split this side of my head in half again. And you can use your rat tail comb if you don't have long nails, or just use your fingernails if you have long nails. Okay. So that would look like this. And artistically, there's not really a right or wrong. There's different ways to do this. So, And again, I've gone just behind my ear. So behind my ear, up and around. And this one I like to do in the middle. Okay. So just like before, now I've got this part in half. I'm just going to pony this off so it stays out of my way while I'm working with that other piece. Okay. So I just use a little hair tie. This can be big or little hair tie, doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're going to style this little free section. And actually, because my hair is kind of fuzzing out, I'm going to do one more hair tie on this just to make sure it stays out of what I'm wanting to style right now. Yes, I know this looks goofy, but very practical. Okay. Voila. Okay, so now I've got this kind of free mass of hair back here, half of the back of my head. I'm going to need another eensy weensy rubber band. Okay. And I'm going to tie that whole back piece into another little ponytail. Okay. So this is my side of my head and back. I'll show what this looks like. Sorry guys, I know it's not a perfect angle. So this is basically what I want, and I'll use, I have a lot of baby hairs around the edge, so I can just use hairspray to spray those up. We don't want any fuzzy showing. So I spray and I smooth. Let's do that one more time, just so super sleek, professional looking. Spray, smooth with the palm. And if you find you're using a ton of hairspray for competitive hair, which I would use, then my hands get all sticky, it's a really good idea to pause and wash your hands and then have at it again styling your hair, because if you get too gunky of hands, your hair sticks to it and then you start to get goofy looking hair. And we want beautiful hair. Okay, so I've got this other side pony now. Oops, I'm seeing a little bit of things sticking out. One more palm. There we go. Now we're slick. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this back piece after I do my pony. Turn around. I'm going to make this side ponytail and pin it here. Once again, I've got my side ponytail and back, and I'm going to pin it across and cover that base bun. Okay, so I'll show what that looks like now. I've got my eensy weensy little rubber band. I recommend this over the big ones. Those tend to get kind of kinked up. I also like these because you can just tear them out when you're done with the comp. I don't want to spend 5 hours unstyling my hair unless I have to. Okay, so now I've got my ponytail. Can you see that back there? I'll show that before I tie it in. Show you all angles. Hopefully you can see this. That's the back. And the front. Okay. Now I'm going to use a big hairpin, and I definitely recommend the big hairpin for this part over the little ones because they're super secure. I'm going to stick my pin through the rubber band in my hair, and then I'm going to pin that whole shenanigans over the top of that base bun that I just did. Okay. I'll show you what that looks like. And hopefully that looks symmetrical. Like I'm not checking my hair today because I'm trying to go fast, but if I don't like the shape, you can always retry several times. And if I were competing, I would definitely, I'm a perfectionist, I would probably recheck it 5 times before I'm happy with the shape. But it can be flat up here. You can have more of a conical shape. That's really artistically up to you. Okay. After I'm done with that, I'm just going to spray again, make sure it's all super duper smooth. And, oops, got some rogue hairs back there. How did that happen? Uh-oh. Oh, heavens. Okay, I do have to redo it. Sorry, guys. I was hoping not have to redo anything, but I missed some hairs. Actually, you know what? I can cheat. Little hairs, I can just pin them up. Somehow I missed a little bit. I'm just going to pin it in. In this case, I'll use the little tiny hairpin. For a comp, I would actually be more careful, but I'm just for the sake of speed, going to pin that in. Okay. Hopefully this works. So I got my little rogue piece. And I'm putting my hairpin around it and jamming it in. Okay, I'm just going to secure with hairspray. Oops, my little piece. Put it over with this piece. Okay, I'll show that one more time. Hopefully it looks a little better now. Okay, next up, I've got my final segment of hair. And I'm just going to blow this out a little bit just to get the, or at least use my curling iron when I do that, to get those last little kinks out and smooth it out. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing I just did with that ponytail with this ponytail. So, and you could go high around the head, low around the head. They make a little bit different shapes, but I mix it up, and sometimes, you know, your hair acts differently from one comp to the next. You just want to do what's working that day. So I'm going to smooth this out. Smooth, 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 smooth. Put a little bit of hairspray over it, running my hand over it. Smooth, 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 smooth. And I'm going to use another one of those eensy weensy rubber bands that I showed you. Boop. And I'm going to do this pony. Okay? So I'll show you before I secure it what that's going to look like. I've got my pony here, and I'm going to wrap it around the bun. Okay, and I'll show this way. I've got my ponytail, wrap it around the bun, and after I secure it with this little rubber band, I can pin it in with one of those big, 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 big hairpins. And you can do this one tight or loose, depending if you want like a soft style or if you want more of a sleek to your scalp style. Usually for ballroom, we have a little bit softer in volume, and for Latin, we have a little bit more sleek and to your head, but this is ultimately a matter of personal preference. Okay. Oh, it's kind of stuck in my hair. The nice thing about these is if it's not working, just break it, pull it out, and restart. Okay. Once again, itty bitty rubber band, flatten it out, side pony, and I would be a little more slow and careful and smoothing if I were doing it comp. But for today, I'm just trying to give you the general idea of what you can do at home to do your own hair. Okay? Okay, this is, again, not working. Of course, when I'm doing a video. Okay. Third try's a charm. I keep getting my hair tangled in these rubber bands. Rubber band. Smoothing. Pony. And then I secure it around the far side of that bun. I'll show what that looks like. Secure it in the far side of that bun. Here's what it looks like on this side. And again, you could do loose, you could do tight, not a right or wrong. Okay, so I'm going to use a big, giant hairpin, and I'm going to hook it through the rubber band and then underneath where I have that big base ponytail. That's kind of the base. Okay, so at this point, I'll just take a little break and show you kind of how goofy my hair is looking. I'm in the middle of the process, but I'm going to have some kind of leftover hairs, as you can see. And that's what it looks like from the back, but I've got my base done. Okay. you have an option that you can style this into different shapes, and I'll probably show that on a different tutorial. I'm trying to show a really easy style today relative to others. So the easiest way to kind of finish this off is to smooth out this pony the way I smoothed out that first pony. So I spray and I run my hands over it, so I'm making a little rope. Spray and smooth, spray and smooth, okay? And I don't personally use a hairnet over this for an easy style, but if I wanted to do more elaborate, I would use another hairnet over here and style that piece. And for today, we're just going to use one of the accessories you can buy online. You can get these for like $60 to $100, like a dance shopper, the rhinestone accessories that I showed you. Or you could probably make it yourself for cheaper, but I like it because it saves time and stress. And if you compete a lot, you're going to save yourself a ton of time if you can buy these. Okay, so I just did an itty bitty rubber band on the end of this final ponytail. And this is kind of the tail ends of all those other ponytails I was making earlier. Okay, so I'm going to take a big rubber band and I'm going to pull this underneath. You can see this, I've got this part of the hair come around underneath. And it works best if before you pin it, you secure it with another little pony. So that would look like a halfway pony. I'll show what that looks like. See that? And I'm pulling it through. Okay, so I'm pulling this around and underneath. You know, I might stop looking at the camera and just start looking at myself in the mirror. This is getting out of hand. It'll be easier if I'm looking at myself instead of you, so I apologize for that. I am paying attention. I just need to do me for a second. So, secure, smooth, small rubber band. And I'm going to pull it over this way to secure it. So it'll be best if I do my little pony over here. Okay, and I'll turn around so you can see what I just did. Hopefully we can see that. Show you from this side. Okay, big hairpin, and I'm going to stick the hairpin underneath of that rubber band and underneath and around and through that kind of base bun. Okay? Now with this little trailing, my little trailing pony is getting smaller, I'm going to smooth that puppy out again. Okay, smoothing it out, and I'm going to make zigzag pattern across and do another pony. I'll show what that looks like. Uh-oh, what's going on there? That's some crazy hair. I would be a little more meticulous if it were an actual competition, but since it's just for demonstration purposes, I'm seeing a little bit of a goofy hair up here. I'm going to pin that on. And I use a little itty bitty hairpin to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to spray and smooth. And I'm going to pull this piece around across the front. See that? I'll show what that looks like from the side. I'm not checking my work here from the back because I'm in a hurry to show you, but if there's anything goofy back there, I want to try and cover it up with the hair. Okay. And I'm going to make another little pony, and I'm going to pin just like I did before with my big hairpin. And tuck that in underneath that bun. Good. And if it starts to get the hairpins, if this hairpins start to get difficult to put in, that's a good sign. It means your hair is not going to fall out when you're dancing. I've worn the same comp hairstyle for up to 3 days. I'm not saying it's pleasant and it's kind of gross, but it beats styling it every day. Okay, so now I've got this final bit here. I can style this, say, into like a swirl, which I like to do. That's kind of time consuming. Or if I want to save time, I can just tuck it back in and do a basic, tuck in and hide it, and away we go. I think for today I might show a swirl, just so you know how to do it. If you've got a little loose end, it can look pretty. So I've got my little baby hairpins. Those look like this. And I'm going to use these to secure my swirls to my scalp, and I'm going to hairspray the heck out of it, okay? So I don't know if you can see. I'm going to smooth this out just like I did with my previous pony. So smooth. Okay. You can wrap around your finger, get a little swirl, and then after you do that, you're going to secure it with little itty bitty hairpins, okay? We won't leave these hairpins in, but we're just going to stick them in now while your swirl dries. And if I were competing, I would even put eyelash glue over the top of this, and it'll stay forever. Okay, do a couple more small hairpins just to secure this while the hairspray dries. And I would take those little hairpins out when I went onto the comp floor, but I would keep them there just to get kind of this base style dried. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like now. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. So now I've got kind of the base of my hair done. I can do fancier stuff, but for today, this will look good enough. I'm on the floor. I'm going to use one of my purchased hair accessories. These make it super easy to do your hair. We'll use this one. I recommend asymmetrical over symmetrical ones because it's very difficult to get a perfectly symmetrical hairstyle. I also recommend thinking about the overall look and complementing your costume. So if you have, say, a floral gown, maybe get a floral themed hairpiece. If you have a modern gown, get a modern shaped one. If you have like an old-fashioned kind of, I'm always thinking about the overall look. Again, not that you're going to be marked down, but you just want to look as polished and professional as possible. Okay. So in this case, I have an asymmetrical piece, and I love these. They're really easy to put on. I also like these because if you have kind of a goofy spot in your hair that's sticking out that you don't like, you can use this or the lace to cover it up, okay? And I'll show what that looks like with the lace. I'm going to show a rhinestone one today, but lace would work too. So say I'm like, oh, I don't like how this is sticking up. I can just put my lace over it. I'll show what that looks like. And these can hide a lot of sins if your hair is just not working that day. And of course, it rarely does everything you want it to do perfectly. We all have bad hair days. Okay, so for today, oops, I've got some baby hair sticking out up there. You can put this along the back, you can put it down the front. I think for today I'll show it down the front, but there's not really a right or wrong. So I'm going to use these eensy weensy hairpins. Again, not bobby pins, I like the hairpins. You can use the bobbies up on that sleek part of your head. And I'm jamming it underneath the hair as much as possible from all different angles. So even if I'm bouncing around the floor, it'll stay on there because inevitably you're going to lose some of these things while you're dancing. Okay, so I'm going downwards, I'm going upwards, I'm going sideways, and I'm going to secure this all over my head. Okay. Okay, so I'm putting these tines around the outside of the rhinestones and then pushing in underneath my hair to hold it in. Okay, I'll show that again. So I have these 2 tines. I apply them around the rhinestones and then I push in. And I do this from all sorts of angles. So even if I'm bouncing around out there, it'll stay put. And I do tons of them. I won't do a ton today because I'm just trying to get this done to show you how it's done. But in real life, I would do a ton of hairpins. Okay, so I go around and then I push in and I go as close to my scalp as I can. Okay, around, as close to my scalp as I can. Okay, so that would look like this. I'll spin around so you can see what that looks like. And you could do this along the side, you can do on the top. There's not a right or wrong to this. You could go down the base. Okay, here's our next trick. I always like to supplement with bonus rhinestones. You can do this on your hair, you can do this on your forehead. I kind of prefer doing it on my forehead because it's easier to wash off later. And as soon as I'm done competing, I so want to get all the makeup and hair out. Again, you don't have to do this, but it's what I like to do. So, what you can do is you can dot eyelash glue on your hair, on your forehead, doesn't matter. And I do something that complements whatever my hairstyle is. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. There's not a right or wrong to this, just something that is complementing the overall style, okay? Okay, so I've done some little dots, and this is eyelash glue. I always bring extra rhinestones to competitions with me, and they should either match if you have an existing hairpiece with rhinestones in it. This is called Crystal AB, this color of stone. Or if I were to have, say, a pink lace. Usually I have these stones. This one isn't stone, just so you can see what the base looks like, but I would have probably pink stones on this instead of Crystal AB because the gown has pink stones on it, and I would also glue those pink stones on here. Okay, so I used my tweezers that I showed you earlier, and I wouldn't usually do this, but because I'm in a hurry to show you what the finished style looks like, I'm just going to dry that hair out dry the glue out with my hair dryer. Okay, usually should be drier than that. Hopefully this will stick. Okay, now I have my little rhinestone and I use my tweezers. See if you can see this. And I'm going to apply that to each little glue dot. Boop. Okay, there's number one. Okay, another one. Boop. Tweezers around. Hopefully you can see that. Apply it to all the little dots. Okay, rhinestone number 3. You can apply these to your hair as well, which looks really beautiful. I'm just not showing that today. But if you do, I recommend after the competition, gob lots of hair conditioner on there and then pull them out. The hair conditioner will make this glue kind of gummy and pull right out. Otherwise, if you're desperate, you can just rip the stones out of your hair, but you might lose some hair in the process. So I recommend, if you have the patience, to actually let it just soak in hair conditioner before you pull them out. You can do that in the shower, or as soon as you get back to your hotel room, you can kind of gob the conditioner on there and just let it soak in a little bit around all those rhinestones. It just makes taking them off way easier. And if you compete a lot, you probably don't want to pull out tons of hair with each competition, or you won't have much hair left at the end of the year. Okay, got our rhinestone again. And I stick the base of the rhinestone, the flat part, on the glue. And final one, got one more glue dot. And you could do swirls. There's not a right or wrong to this. I'm just doing something that complements my costume and my hairpiece. Okay. Almost done. Got our last rhinestone. Yay! Okay. Here's our final rhinestone. Dun 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 dun. Grab it with the tweezers. Apply to my final glue dot. Okay. Now there's a little white part where the glue is right now. Don't worry about that. That'll dry clear later. But I'll show you what the finished product is, okay? And this is called a French roll. Hopefully you can see. So guys, that's my first competition hair tutorial. I hope that was helpful. You can do this with different hair lengths. Remember all of your important tools. We've got the hairspray with alcohol as the #1 ingredient, not water. We've got the fat hair ties. We have the hair pins, not bobby pins, hair pins. We've got accessories. You can order extra lace when you purchase your costume, or you can buy these online on a variety of websites. If you're going to glue your own rhinestones on, make sure that they're Swarovski or at least an Austrian crystal. Don't waste your money on the plastic ones. They don't shine enough. We adhered rhinestones either to our hair or to our face using the lash glue, which we removed after the comp by gobbing it with hair conditioner. Lotion probably worked too. Oh, one final thing. I did have my hair done once at Ohio Star Ball. I signed up with someone that was a vendor at the comp. And I got there and she just slicked my hair in a bun and sprayed glitter hairspray on it. And I didn't realize until she was done that she had no clue what she was doing. So if you do sign up to have your hair done with a vendor at the comp, I would definitely call them in advance and ask how many competitions they've done before, or if they've competed before is even more valuable. Because you just don't want to waste your money. I wasted $100. I could have done it myself better. Anyway, I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to email me if you have questions. And good luck for styling your hair at your next competition. Bye, guys.